Okay, now we're on live. Welcome back to iChongqing's channel. Welcome back to iChongqing's channel. I'm Echo Chen. Today's live stream is about the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics, a huge event happening right now. And in this spring, it's thrilling. The athletes are breaking the record every day, and it's making us laugh, cry, and shout and think. So today I'm gonna focus on talking about the athletes in the games, the promotion, the snow sports promotion in China, and the technique and all the things that touches you or inspires you during this Olympics. I'm now connecting with my friend Alex Absolute, who is a great YouTuber, Ben Brown, who loves
Thanks.
his ice hockey, and Kai Wood, an invited editor of iChongqing. So before we get started, please tell us a little about yourself, gentlemen. I'm gonna start with maybe Kai. Okay.
Hi there. Hi, Echo. Hey, guys. Alex and Ben. It's nice to be here. Yeah, the Olympics have been really great, but self-introduction. Okay, my name's Kai. I'm from Canada. Of course, I grew up. One of my favorite sports is ice hockey. I actually flew to Chongqing with a pair of hockey skates in my bag. I've used them 0 times, sadly, because it's just so hot. But I know that now Todd and Ben are involved in a hockey club, so I'm trying to find the least busy time at the local rink, practice up a little bit, and I hope to surprise them one day by skating on over to play with them. Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little about yourself, Alex.
Okay, hi, I'm Alex. I'm from the UK. I've been here just coming up 9 years now. I live in Wenzhou. We're a lot further away from Chongqing, but I love coming to Chongqing. I have a YouTube channel, and I also just make videos and edit videos as a living. So yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. With my connection with the Winter Olympics, I guess, I have skied since I was about 10, maybe. I started skiing when I was in school, maybe 10 or 11. I've skied a lot, and I even went out to live in the French Alps for like a year, or like I did a season out there. So I was out there snowboarding at that time. I progressed from skiing to snowboarding, and yeah, I snowboarded every day for like 6 months, I think. So I can do a fair amount. No, I'm no Eileen Gu, but I can hold my own on the piste for sure.
You're almost as good
Okay.
looking as
How
Eileen
about
Gu, though. I think you got it in bag.
No, nowhere near as good looking as
You're very
I'm
handsome.
nowhere
Very
near as
handsome.
fresh and young. Maybe Echo is probably more good looking.
I'll give you that.
Okay, how about you, Ben? Tell us a little about yourself and
Sure.
to
My name
our
is Ben
audience.
Brown. I'm from Minnesota, where I started skating when I was 3 years old.
Wow.
I started playing hockey at the age of 5. My first trip to Chongqing was in 1994. I came over as an exchange student. I wanted to see what the opposite of central Minnesota was like, and I think I managed to find it. Um, and my memories of the Winter Olympics start when I was 6 years old. I saw the 1980 U.S. Soviet hockey game, called the Miracle on Ice game, where a bunch of college kids, many of them from Minnesota, managed to beat the Soviet Union, which had the best hockey program in the world at the time. I think, at any rate. And yeah, I love living in Chongqing, and I love watching the Winter Olympics. And Kai, we have beginners that come to skate with us.
Oh, yeah?
So
Good.
no need to practice. You
I'm
can
into
just
it.
show up.
I'm into it.
We go all the way from very early beginners to people who have retired from the national team and the KHL playing with us. So all levels, everybody's welcome. It's a pretty laid back game, you know.
Good.
So
Nice.
anyway, excited to be here.
Thanks, guys. It's glad that we can do this while the game is going. For someone who is watching our show, please support us by like this live stream, share it, and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on our Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. Okay. You can also find me on Echo Chen on Twitter. So let's get started of our show today. First question. So
We in the show, but like she seems to have stopped. Or is that just me?
That's frozen for me too.
Yep.
Yeah,
You-
Ben, is it just us three? Echo
It might
seems
be.
to frozen.
It might be. Well, if we're waiting for Echo to come back, one thing I want to mention, Ben, maybe this might be interesting, is that yeah, I appreciate you have a beginner's game, but at the same time, I feel an intense pressure being a foreigner in China in Chongqing. That if I, as soon as I know the first second I get on the ice, people are going to stop and go, "Oh, he looks Canadian. He must be like Wayne Gretzky." And the first time I fall over, if I'm skating around and slip or something, they're just gonna like laugh at me, and so I feel this incredible pressure being a foreigner in China, that everything I do has to be like Olympic level. And so that's why when I get a bit of practice, I want to go when there's like nobody there and just skate for a couple of hours and then feel like, okay, yeah, cool, I'm good. Because it would just kill me to come out there and be like, I'm from Canada. I fall over and everyone just starts laughing, which is my nightmare.
That's it. We generally just laugh at Todd,
Yeah.
but it's not
That's
even
good.
because he's a good hockey player.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
easy to laugh at him. So
Yeah, fair enough. How often do you guys play?
we try to play Sunday nights at 8:30 up in Yubei at iChongqing. If we get enough people, we play. Right now, we've got a decent number of skaters, but some can't play on Sunday nights and some can't play on Friday nights. So
Yeah, scheduling's
what
always
I'm hoping
the
to do
trickiest
is
part.
try and promote it to the point where we could get Todd's thinking is getting kind of beginners and kids being up to their mid-20s on the Friday night games, and then getting the coaches and the adults on the Sunday night games, so that we can get more ice time and get more interest in it. I mean, if we can regularly have 2 games going a week, then we can increase the amount of interest. Plus
Yeah, that sounds good.
plus the iChongqing Mall, they let us start skating at 8:30, which is cool because then we can get people watching us play, and occasionally, somebody walks by that used to play hockey or is interested in it, and so that helps a lot.
Yeah,
Looks
that
like
sounds
Echo
really
is
good.
back.
Yeah, good.
Is it Echo or Ico?
hi, I'm back.
Hi.
I'm sorry
Good,
for
good.
the signal problem. And I thank you. Probably need you guys to host this show for me while I was in this connecting problem, but I
Sure,
hope
yeah.
we don't have that anymore.
Yeah, we were just talking about
And,
ice hockey in Chongqing.
So you guys have watched the ice hockey competition in the Olympics?
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I watched the women's Canada. I think it was the Canada-China game, and I watched the women's U.S.-Canada game, and I watched the men's U.S.-Canada game, which I was very, very happy about.
And
We
Yeah.
won 4-2. I missed the men's U.S.-Slovakia game, and I missed the Canada-U.S. game. I think Canada won the gold and the U.S. women's team won the silver, which I was really happy about. I missed the U.S. Slovakia game where we lost in a shootout, which it's disappointing for them to lose, but at the same time, I was happy that they skated as well as they did, because the U.S. team, quite frankly, they just not randomly, but they chose the team about a month. They finalized the team about a month before the Olympics, and a lot of the guys were really young. 7 of them were from Minnesota.
Wow.
Even more than that were attending Minnesota colleges and universities where they were playing hockey. So it was fun to see those guys skate. It was fun to see Eric Stahl skating as the captain of Team Canada because he's a player I've always admired, and he's been retired, but he was in the NHL for 17 years or something. So watching him come out and play was fun. I'm really kicking myself for missing the Slovakia game though, because I love watching shootouts. I love watching close games.
Yeah. I was getting updates on my my Canadian kind of WeChat and little clips, but it's actually been really hard for me to. I've been so busy lately. Spring Festival in China is like a family affair all day, every day. So I'm not really in front of my TV at home. So I'm either trying to find a channel on my phone or just getting little clips and that kind of thing. It's been pretty. It's a big commitment to watch. But Ben, actually, before we move on to another topic, I was kind of interested what you think about the dynamics of this Winter Olympics hockey because of the COVID pandemic in Canada and America. We didn't get any NHL players, right?
Well,
So
I'm not sure why.
It's a different kind of game.
换笔记本不是也是用这个网吗？关键是。
Yeah, I think they personally, I think the NHL was looking for an excuse to not have skaters, to not let their players into the Olympics, because I don't think they've ever been really 100% for it. They're always worried that people are going to get injured. They got to shut the league down for a month, and I'm sure they're struggling for cash or at least profits now. I prefer to have professionals in the game, but it's fun to watch anyway. I mean, I don't think that there was too big of a drop in the talent level from what I was seeing. I mean, it was still fast-paced and very exciting. I was bummed about not being able to go to Beijing for the Olympics this year, because I've been hoping to attend the Winter Olympics in Beijing for about 4 or 5 years now. I mean, I've been looking forward to it. I was so happy when I found out that it was going to be here and that I would probably be here. And now that it's not, now that it wasn't able to be open, it was disappointing. But the fact that they were still able to have the Olympics, I'm happy about. So
yeah, I think they did a really good job. I missed a few players. Like, actually, it's interesting. I went to college in Nova Scotia. So Sidney Crosby, one of my best friends, used to cut his hair, Cole Harbour boy. And when he got signed to the NHL, it was like big deal, for a lot of his, obviously his friends and him and the people around him and stuff. And I remember a couple of years after that was the 2010 Vancouver Olympics. And I remember he got the winning goal over the US. It was like his golden goal. He wrapped around the net, stuck it in. Canada got gold. They beat America. And it was his big moment. And to me, that was like a really exciting, hockey moment where I thought that, wow, like Olympic hockey is kind of just like NHL, but no fighting. It's a little bit cleaner. So I kind of missed a few of those guys playing, but I'm glad you really enjoyed it. And I wish I had watched more of the games, but the ones I saw were really cool. And the women's team did awesome.
Yeah. The women's team. Huh?
There's a comment. I can't really respond to it because hockey's not really a big thing. It looks cool. It's not really a big thing for us English or South Africans as well. But someone here says, I am a field hockey player, and ice hockey looks like a game for brawlers and pub fighters.
Yeah, I was trying to respond to that in the comments, but I can't see where I can reply to comments in here.
I hear a lot of my Canadian friends, because we have a lot of things here in Wenzhou. Every year they have the hockey draws, is it? And everybody goes to like a bar and they all draw out like players, and then it's like a fantasy football league, but for hockey players, I guess.
I do that with my family too. Yeah.
Players, and then you build like a pretend team. I don't know if it's like a widely done Canadian thing, but the Canadians here seem to do that. And from what I've seen, I was like, even they said though that recently hockey's kind of toned down. It's not like it was a few years back where it was a bit more. There was a lot more fighting, because there seems to be a lot of fighting, doesn't there? Like shoulder badges and stuff from what I've seen. But looks fun.
It's pretty rough.
I'm a rugby player, so I know about the violence of sport being fun. So
there's fighting in the NHL, but in Olympic hockey and hockey at the college level, there's generally very little fighting. But in the professional level and in like even the AHL and the CHL, which are in the it's called the WHL. Anyway, the lower level professional leagues in Canada and across the northern part of the U.S. There's a lot more fighting, but the Olympic hockey and college hockey generally there's not as much, and it's I'm kind of happy that there's less fighting in the NHL now than there was in the past. I think 15, 20 years ago, it was really much more prevalent. They've kind of opened the game up a lot more, changed the rules a little bit, so players are able to kind of, showcase their talent a little more than just getting flattened all the time. So I like the direction it's gone recently. I think it's becoming more of a kind of a game that's open to the general public or more accessible to the general public than it used to be, which is a good thing. But yeah, to reply to the comment, ice hockey looks like a game for brawlers and pub fighters. I play in a lot of rec leagues. I've played hockey in Seattle and in China, and I haven't been in a hockey fight, I don't think, since I was like 14.
No,
So the NHL is very different from.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why does the ice hockey allow athletes to fight? Is there any story behind it, or
It's-
like a?
Yeah,
just do.
It's generally the idea behind it is, for example, Sidney Crosby to name somebody, plays for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and in order to try and stop him, players on the other team will try and hit him really hard, and if he gets his bell rung too hard, he might not be able to play as well, and so every team generally has some frighteningly large guy who's not necessarily a great hockey player, whose job is to get out on the ice, and if somebody hits Sidney Crosby, he's going to go hit somebody else. Probably either somebody on the other team that's a star player, or he's going to go fight with their brawler. So it's kind of a way of trying to prevent the other team from flattening your best guys. And I don't know that it's necessarily all that effective, but that's the tradition behind it, basically.
Yeah, I mean they get penalties after the fights. It's like technically it's not an approved thing. Like the people fighting will get a penalty, but I think it's fairly amusing. Like I remember being younger and people just watch hockey for the fights. Some people just get really excited. Oh, this is a good one. The gloves are off, the helmet's off. They're just brawling. It's kind of exciting. It's like ice boxing or something.
Yeah.
I like an ice game too, though.
I was at a minor league game. I was at a minor league game in Seattle where the Seattle team was up by like 6 or 7 goals towards the end of the game, and somebody said, "This game is over. It's so it's so boring." And a guy sitting next to me said, "It's not over. It's just about to turn into a fight."
At the end of the game when they're mad, that can be a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One thing I thought was really interesting. I was going to say, I'm looking at the medal ranking so far, and a couple of the countries, of course, Norway, Germany, U.S., and usually Canada do quite well. But to see China in 4th place is, I think, a big. Some countries would call it an upset. I think it's really cool for China. And in terms of the Chinese hockey, I think their forward team was really good. They were getting some pretty good goals, and I think their goaltender maybe needed a bit more luck or a bit of work, but the Chinese hockey team did surprisingly well. And this year, I mean, China's got 8 gold medals and they're number 4th place overall. I think China's not a very cold place most of the time. And traditionally, I don't think they've done this well in Winter Olympics. So just to say, it's kind of a nice surprise that gets the home team advantage or something. They're doing really well.
Yeah, it was fun to see.
Seems to be sucking hard.
Sorry, was that?
England's sucking hard. I think we've got 1 silver medal, right, in curling, and that's about it. And England, I thought we always did pretty well in the Winter Olympics, but it seems this year not so much really. Like silver in the curling, it's not very good. Curling, but like I like the curling. Curling is fun. If you guys, I guess you guys have played it because you come from somewhere there's a lot of cold and snow, right? I mean, when we used to live in the Alps, we used to play it just as like a fun thing, a bit like it's. Curling is essentially just the ice version of boules that you play. Like when I used to live in France, or go to France, you'd play boules, and like you have the small ball, you throw it, and everybody tries to throw their balls near to it. And curling is essentially that, but with the brushes. It's really fun to play, but yeah, it's a strange thing for Britain to get in because I don't know. I thought we were better at skiing and snowboarding, but it seems this year not so much. It's been a kind of a disappointing year for England.
Yeah, look at them. They're not even in the top 20.
No,
Canada.
Yeah. Speaking of curling, I watched some curling games, and I think they are really excellent. And I haven't watched them before this Winter Olympics. But while I was watching them with my family, it was like really entertaining. Yeah, because I've heard that the curling was called the gentleman's game, right? Yeah, I like the connection between these athletes, and they kind of like building the really, how to say this, a great, nice relationship between each other. And I think it's like watching them competing. It's like watching them play in the chess.
Yeah,
that kind of feeling.
Before.
Yeah.
It's actually quite interesting. I'm Canadian. My father's side is from Winnipeg, and actually my grandfather and his father were like Brier champions. My dad's side is a real big curling family. My grandfather and great grandfather were like, they're really into it. They were on a team together with two skips, and they won a lot of championships. Like they were really big into it. And I have some friends that really make fun of my sort of family's curling history. They say, well, it's good to know there's an Olympic sport for janitors. with the sweeping, they give it a hard time, But it's quite interesting, I was watching a video, I think Star Talk on YouTube with Neil deGrasse Tyson, who was explaining the physics of ice sports and how the ice, when you press down, the ice actually melts a little bit, and the water is how you can get the traction and speed skating or skiing or even the curling. And when the sweepers are kind of pushing along the ice, they're actually like changing the physics and how to steer even though they're not touching the rock, they're kind of shaping the ice. It's quite a fascinating game.
It's been one of the most fun like spoof videos. There's been lots of people. I think there was I saw I think it's like a Douyin video or something, and it was people that had frozen water in kettles, and they'd gone out and somewhere in the north of China where there was like a frozen lake or river or something, and then they had two people with I guess just their household brushes, and then these kettles that are like, I guess, similar size to a curling stone with frozen water in them, and they were having their own game of curling. It looks fantastic fun. That's
interesting. It's cool. It's great to see the enthusiasm. It's like China just woke up to winter sports, and they're really excited about it. It's pretty cool.
I showed it. We watched it with my whole family. Watched it a few days ago. Watched a match, and my youngest son, who's 3, saw the two ladies. It was a women's team, I think, brushing in front of the rock, and he said, "Hey, 我们的清洁阿姨可以来做这个." It's just our aunts, the ladies that clean our house could do this and be really good at it because they sweep fairly quickly. But it's a fun game. I obviously don't have as much exposure to it as Kai does, but I've played a few times. I had a boss at a job 10 years ago who was big into it, and he got us out on the ice a few times to play. It's a lot of fun, and it is. One of the comments I saw was that it's getting more high tech. It really is getting significantly more high tech.
They've got super high tech these last few years, I guess. But something which I personally like, it's not even the sports that I think the most fantastic thing I like about the Winter Olympics is the show, and especially when it comes to China, because if it's one thing that China can do is an absolutely phenomenally spectacular show. Like this Olympics show was fantastic. The Beijing 2018, is it like the regular Olympics?
Summer Olympics.
That was it. Yeah. Both absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's not to say that other countries don't do great. I thought our English one was pretty fantastic. But yeah, the show at the beginning was incredible, and like to see all the people. We sat on the sofa for like hours. Like it was. I think it's the latest my two sons have stayed up for bed. Like they're 2 and 5 years old, FYI. But they stayed up and they just watched the whole thing, and it kind of got a bit repetitive in the end because every time a new team came out, I had to explain to both of them who they were, why there was either so many or so few of them. Because like some of the teams, there was like one person, right? I just tried to simplify, oversimplify it, and just say hot country, cold country.
Right.
And yeah, just seeing all of the. I don't know if they do it with the Winter Olympics, but the Summer Olympics, they have the relay that goes to all the countries with the torch, right? And eventually it gets.
I think it's the same thing for Winter Olympics. Yeah.
They do the same thing with the Winter Olympics. I thought so. I was pretty sure they did, but yeah, so. I like all the history behind it because the Olympics is, it's got a very interesting kind of varied history, which is quite.
It
fun.
is.
It's quite interesting to
And to
explain.
be honest, this may be a bit off color or whatever, but I know Greece has had a lot of economic issues, sadly, in the last decade or so. And I feel like if nothing else, the Olympics is such a huge sports enterprise that the rest of Europe and the rest of the world would prop up Greece and say, you can't fail because who else is going to light the torch? If there's no torch in Olympia, going to Athens, going to the host country, we don't have this incredible sports opportunity. So if nothing else, I feel the Olympics must be a huge economic boon for Greece to help them get through a tough time.
Yeah, I've been to visit the original Olympic site. It's pretty interesting, cool place to go.
In Olympia, wow. Cool.
Yeah,
I saw the arena in Athens in 2019, but I never made it to Olympia.
Okay, yeah. That's also pretty good. That's not bad as well.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, how did you guys think about the snowflake thing? I just saw it in the comments being lit. I thought it was different. It was good, but it was kind of different because usually the Olympic torch is really big and then it just carries on burning for the whole games. And the snowflake thing is it's good, but it's kind of different, right?
Are you guys talking about this one? Like the really huge.
The snowflake that got lit,
snowflake.
it's usually traditionally it's usually a massive, great big torch, which is just fixed. This time the snowflake being lit and hoisted up. It was pretty cool, but just a little different, I thought.
Yeah.
And is this one?
Oh, we lost echo.
It's behind me. I can't see.
I thought it was cool that they. I thought it was cool that they put all those snowflakes together from all the different countries to make one big snowflake.
That was pretty cool because it had every single country's flag on there.
I was kind of surprised too that the torch was so small. That was interesting. I mean, I didn't dwell on it too much. My wife is much more into the opening ceremonies than I am. So
yeah, because usually the flames are bigger. That's what looked so different. Was just the torch was like the handheld torch was mounted into the middle of the snowflake, as opposed to lighting usually what is a
giant burning thing.
Yeah, huge torch.
I wonder what the decision was. I mean, I wonder if it was just environmental, with movies like Don't Look Up being so critically successful, and China and many countries are pushing for a more environmentally friendly situation. Maybe the idea of burning a giant vat of oil for 2 weeks. Just like, let's do something a little different,
I guess. Another thing I always like about the Olympics is discovering countries that I've never realized existed before, because at least 10 or 15 countries when they came in, I was like, the Democratic Republic of where? And what's that country called? So it's an interesting geography lesson as well, and it's nice to see them all come out at the start. And I thought probably one of the hardest jobs at the entire Olympics must have been those people that had to enthusiastically wave for the entire ceremony of all the people coming in, because they did an absolutely amazing job. Not one of them looked sad. They all looked amazingly happy and kind of like waving and dancing around. Yeah, I think I'd have been too tired within 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, absolute legends.
Mm-hmm. I was just Googling to get the name right. I don't know if you guys have an opinion on this, but did you hear about ROC? I mean, you probably heard Kamila Valieva. the 15-year-old skater who got the gold and then got in trouble for her heart medication? What do you
No?
guys think about that?
What happened there?
So she's 15 years old. She was like, really hyped, like some of our Chinese athletes, and many people thought like, wow, 15-year-old skating phenomenon for figure skating, and she won the gold medal. But then when they did testing, she was found to have when I heard ROC, the Russian athletes have a doping scandal. Of course, they've had the reason they're ROC and not Russia is because there was the state-sponsored doping thing a few years ago, and now they're performing as like the athletes from Russia, so they have a bit of a bad rap because of that system. But in this case, it was actually a heart medication she was taking. So it didn't necessarily seem to be performance enhancing. It was more of a medical. But they said, I guess when you have to be very careful when you're an Olympic athlete, and normally you don't. I thought it would be amazing. A 15-year-old with a heart condition is performing at the Olympics and won a gold medal. But then there was an issue because of this medicine came up on her drug test. So I don't know if they've now decided to pull the Olympic gold. I think they're either just debating or maybe they've decided. So I'm just kind of bringing that information up. But did you hear about that, Ben?
I see why you would take somebody's Olympic gold away because of heart medication, because that's not performance enhancing. That's literally just keeping you alive. It seems kind of petty. Like if you're gonna pull somebody for heart medication, like it's kind of nitpicky because you can tell that's obviously not enhancing their performance.
Yeah. She tested positive for trimetazidine at the Russian figure skating championship, and so she was allowed to perform. But then they might take her gold away. Yeah, it was interesting. Anyway, I don't know. Yeah. What else have you guys been watching? What are the big moments for you guys? I can tell you, I had one moment, and I've been really kind of busy, so I didn't watch as much as I would have liked to. But of course, I was with my wife taking a bit of a holiday in Bishan, in Chongqing, in the mountains, and we had to have lunch, and the screen was on, and a bunch of kids came up all excited, and they were like, "Oh, Guai Ling is going to perform!" And we saw her go down, and she did an excellent run, and it just felt like one of those iconic moments. I could tell people were so amped for it. She held up really well under pressure. And then within a few minutes, she was on the podium with her gold medal. And since then, the internet's been crazy about her, right? What do you guys have an opinion on that? What do you think?
She's the first person. She's not only done fantastically well, because I mean she's got 1 or 2 world records or something, right? But she's also the first person to obtain 3 medals in the same Olympics, like all within one Olympics, right? 'Cause she got 2 golds and 1 silver. Is that right? I'm pretty sure that's right.
I think so. Yeah, I'll double check. I think so.
We've got 3 in one Olympics. That's pretty nuts. You think she's 19 years old. Like if you're 19 years old, you've just become the first person to ever get 3 medals in one Olympics, and you've done phenomenally well anyway. There was a lot of hype around her anyway, and she didn't disappoint. She did amazingly.
Yeah, 3 medals. That's incredible. Yeah.
I was impressed with the I can't remember his name, the Norwegian cross-country skier who won the gold medal and then waited at the finish line for every single skier to cross, including the last guy, before he celebrated winning the gold medal, which was I thought was really honorable.
Yeah, cool. That is nice. That was from Norway?
Yeah, I can't remember his name. It started with an R. But anyway,
they're leading at the moment, right? Is it like something like 15 gold medals?
15 golds and 8 silvers at the moment, 34 medals for Norway. Yeah, they're doing great. But I mean, I think that's one of the nice things to see, that kind of sportsmanship. Of course, we always want to see good sports in sportsmanship, whether you're winning or losing. But I think with so many, there was a lot of politics about COVID and will Beijing manage it well and all that. So just to see a well-managed event and really good sportsmanship between the countries, I think it's a bit inspiring. At this time, people are arguing so much. Canada, I mean, I'm Canadian. We have a state of emergency over truckers and mandates and all this, and it's just everything's so politicized. So just to see all the countries together doing their sports, getting along, shaking each other's hands, maybe it's what we need at this moment. I think it's nice to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to mention, and I want. One of the questions is, want you guys share your best moments of Beijing 2022 with us. And I think after you guys share yours, I can share one of mine. And guys, like for a native who born and living in Chongqing, as me, Chongqing is a southwestern city in China, and this Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics is kind of mind blowing for me, because I only watch the figure skating competition for Hanyu Yuzuru, one of my favorite athletes, who I started to care about his performances in 6 years ago. He's like the only athlete that I know of the Winter Games, but the whole watching Olympic Games, Beijing Winter Olympic Games this year is like, but before it's like a really mind blowing experience for me, because there are many sweet moments and warm-hearted moments for me, and I think I can share something with you guys. And also, I love Eileen Gu. I wanted to mention that because I saw our audiences keep mentioning her, and she's the queen, right? I don't think there is someone who would hate her. I think everybody just loved her.
Some of my friends
So,
joke about hating her, actually, though. So if you don't mind, I'll go first, because I think the other you guys probably watched a little more of the events than I did. So I'll try to get mine out first, if you don't mind. But for me, when I watched Eileen get her first gold, I really felt like that was an iconic moment. It was just like she just nailed it, and within minutes was up on the podium, and I could just feel she's become a superstar. Like, just bam, like everyone in the country just loves her, and they were so proud of her. And then there's a bit
mhm.
of the controversy whether she would perform for America. She's got a American father and Chinese mother, and I guess Chinese were very proud she chose to play for the Chinese team, and some Americans were kind of like, "Hey, you could have got us a gold. Why did you do that?" And I thought that was a fun kind of controversy. I don't think it got too serious, but yeah, for me to watch her win was a very iconic moment. Watching the women's Canadian hockey beat America, that was fun. I was hoping the men team would have won the gold as well, but hockey was good. I think my saddest moment I saw, and for me it didn't affect me so much, but for people around me, the Japanese figure skater Hanyu Yuzuru. He was very
Mhm.
people were very excited about him. They were like, he's a real artist, like the Michael Jackson of figure skating. And he actually fell a couple times in his routine. I think he hit a bad spot of ice, and he ended up, I think, placing fourth. He didn't get a medal in this Olympics, and I thought people were sure he was going to get a gold. So that was a bit of a one of those moments where people were disappointed for him. But again, the fact that they empathized with him and were disappointed for him, I think it just shows the good sportsmanship of the whole Olympics. So those were coming on. Oh, quickly before I move on, people that couldn't hate Gualing, some of my friends actually, they joke about, I think they're joking, that they said it's really not fair. They said most people are not smart enough to get into Stanford. Most people are not good enough at their sports to be in the Olympics. And most people are not good looking enough to be a model. And for her to do all of those things, it's just not fair. Like, you leave something for the rest of us, which is kind of a funny thing to say, I think. But so that's me. Those are some of my moments. What about you guys?
To be honest, I
I'm
watched a
still
couple of cross country skiing events, and then I watched hockey. So, I mean, watching the watching the American and Canadian women's teams play each other. Probably the biggest highlight for me, though, was watching the Chinese men's and women's teams play hockey, because it's, I don't know, it might be a few more Olympics before we get to see China playing, being represented in hockey in the Winter Olympics. But it was great to see the amount of development that they've attained in the last 20 years or so, because
Mhm.
hockey here has grown significantly in that time, and I look forward to seeing China back in the Olympics at some point in the near future when they're not hosting the Olympics. That'll be a huge moment of pride for the country, I think. I mean, I'm sure this year already has been, but in going forwards as well, I think we'll see China in the playing Olympic hockey again soon. That makes me, happy to think about.
How about you, Alex?
Okay, so I kind of dipped in and out of all of the games because I have two children and a kind of busy life. So I've tried to try to keep kind of abreast of it. But for me, it's always because I've got a big history, like I said, of living in the Alps and spending a lot of my life snowboarding and skiing. It's always about the snowboarding and skiing. I love the freestyle, the jumping. Pretty much anything. When you just see people go over, like I was a good enough snowboarder that I could do like black double diamond runs, which are the hardest, and some off-piste ones. Could do like maybe like we started by the end of the season. I remember doing like going up ski jumps and going over jumps, and occasionally putting in a few turns or off-piste doing a few jumps, so to speak. But nothing like what obviously these people are doing there. Like when you see those half pipes. And those half pipes, they don't look as big on TV as they do in real life. It's phenomenal to see. Like if you stand on the lip of one of those half pipes and just see how far they've got to drop before actually before you hit a curve, it's just insane to think that people can even do that. And like the stuff people do is like it's the same every year. I mean, it started. I guess the best Winter Olympics for me was when Shaun White was still like a big player in a snowboarding game. But yeah, every year people just get better and better. The jumps it's just insane to see people jumping that high. And the other thing for me is just the show. I'm a big sucker for the opening show.
李丽颖，你能不能进来一下？我需要你帮我找一下图片。
You might want to mute your microphone when you're talking on the.
I'm sorry. I just I like Shaun White, and I think he is really how to say a legend, right? And the last round of him is like
a game about you, then I'm pretty sure you're doing quite well.
Yeah, I think so.
He's like the Tony Hawks of snowboarding. But yeah, I love the show. For me as well, the Olympic show, and especially when China does an Olympic show. It's not kissing ass or anything, but it's like with the Beijing Summer Olympics and this Olympics, like China really knows how to put on a fantastic show with the choreographed performances, all the singing and the dancing, and I really liked just the way that the whole show was put on this Beijing Olympics. It was really well thought out. It really kind of encompassed every single like country that was in there, and it was just really well done. Really well done. It was.
Do you remember when Beijing did the Summer Olympics and they had drones come out? I think that was like the first time I had ever seen that, and people were losing their minds. Like they had sort of, instead of fireworks, they had a fleet of drones doing stuff. It was really wild.
Yeah, the little girl that sang. It's always just, it must take hours and hours and hours and like months, I guess. It takes a lot of planning, but the show is always fantastic.
Phenomenal show. Are they going to have a big show? Is it tomorrow, the closing? Is that tomorrow night?
Yes, the closing show, yeah.
That'll be cool. You guys going to check it out, Ben? You going to watch that?
Yeah, probably. I don't have to work tomorrow.
Oh, cool. Nice.
The best thing about modern life is you can also get catch-up TV. So, like most of the opening ceremony, I didn't actually watch live. We just watched when it was convenient because, yeah, children.
So, Echo, did you say you had some favorite moments too? I don't think we caught those. What were your favorite moments?
Yeah, I'm working on those pictures because I put those pictures in the wrong section of the background, but I really wanted to show you guys the picture. I'm waiting for my colleagues to transfer these pictures for me so that I can, show you guys later. Because one of these moments that I was really inspired and touched was the Su Yiming. I don't know if you guys know this guy, really young, talented snowboarder, Chinese snowboarder who wins gold medal and the silver medal in the snowboarding, the men's snowboarding, Su Yiming. And the moment that touches me the most is when he knew he's going to win the gold medal before his last round. And he and his coach, the instructor, they were like cuddling in the camera. And before he begins his last round, and there were tears around in their eyes, and it's like I don't know, the emotion, the silence there just touches me, and I
Yeah, I mean
really
that's huge for China to
yeah.
have a gold medal in snowboarding. I mean their program is not nearly as established as Canada or the U.S. or some of the European countries, right? So it's phenomenal. Yeah, the growth of Chinese winter sports is really, really amazing, I'd say. Yeah.
And I think another one, just when just when I mentioned about the Eileen Gu, because I had this information about this year's Winter Olympics, they add like 7 events. This year we have 109 events across 15 disciplines, right? 7 events were increased. One of the reasons to increase the events is to promote the female athletes numbers in the Winter Olympics. And actually, this year is like they were like the female athletes were like reached 45. I think that is the number, 45%, over 45%, ranked top in the Winter Olympics history. So this really gets me. I think that's the spirit. And the the touching moment and the really how to say this great information to know about this year's Olympics. Actually, I want to ask you guys: have you guys noticed there is a events called bobsleigh?
Bobsleigh, yeah, of course. Bobsleighing is
Yeah,
amazing.
and I heard that this year they
Right.
only have like women's bobsleigh. They don't have a men's bobsleigh, right?
Really?
They didn't.
That's surprising. I heard
Yeah,
there's a
I
new
think
one. It's
so.
the
I think
mono
so.
sleigh. I saw a picture of that actually. This year we have a new sleigh activity.
If bobsleighing seems a
Mhm.
little bit too tame for you, you should check out something called the luge or the skeleton board. The skeleton board
Skeleton
is
is
like
crazy.
basically,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
just like one person
yeah,
Just head
on
first
ice
into the
cream,
wall down.
essentially.
yeah,
It's-
yeah. Because
it looks like the best rush of
I've
life, or like the
yeah, and the reason that I concerned about the bobsleigh is one is the name of it. It's like it's kind of cool, and the two is like I heard that there is a Canadian athlete like it's called Kaylee, Kaylee
I
or something
actually I have
Humphrey,
a
Kaylee
picture of that
Humphrey.
right in front of me. Oh no, I think you're talking about Kaylee Humphreys is in Team USA, but actually, there I just have a picture here. She was in the first ever monobob event. So normally the bobsleigh is a team sport, right? 2 to 4 of the, and this, so they have a
two to four
mono
people. Yeah.
monobob.
Oh,
But
wow. Yeah.
if you're interested in the bobsleighing, Echo, I highly recommend that you check out a film. It's not a new film, but it's the Jamaican bobsleigh.
Cool running.
Cool runnings, right? The Jamaican bobsled team. Oh man,
Jamaican
it's a
bobsleigh team.
classic.
It's an absolutely amazing
Yeah.
film. It's not new, but
Oh,
it's
it's great.
quite fairly old, but it's an absolutely fantastic one about the Jamaican bobsleigh team.
Yeah, I love it.
Wow.
I love it. It's one of my favorites growing up. Yeah, it's a true story too, right?
Wow.
It's true story, yeah.
I can't find Jamaica on the medal count for top 20. I'll have to scroll down. We'll see.
Olympic,
No.
I'm sorry, guys. I can't make it to show you the picture that I prepared, but I think you guys can check, and I can also post those pictures in our Twitter accounts. And for everyone who's watching this show today, and remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, subscribe to Alex Absolute's channel. Okay, he's a really great YouTuber. And also follow our accounts on Facebook and Twitter and on Instagram. And we're talking about the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics today. And here comes another question that I wanted to ask Ben, is that how do you see, or can you share your insights of the snow sports promotion in China? Because I know you are one of the clan member of the iChongqing Chongqing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I think promotion of winter sports in China has been increasing quite a bit. One of the things that's really helped Chongqing's hockey program is that Xi Jinping said a few years ago that in preparation for hosting the Winter Olympics, China should promote winter sports across the country more. And as a result, a number of universities in Chongqing have started hockey programs. So we occasionally get skaters who come all the way in from Dashuetang to play hockey with us. And it's not only really cool to have younger people playing hockey, but it's also really helpful to the program. I actually interviewed way back in 2009, I think, to be the translator for a minor league hockey team based out of Shanghai that was promoted by this and funded by the San Jose Sharks. It was a joint venture between San Jose and a Shanghai hockey program. So there's been leagues or attempts at starting hockey leagues in China in the past. I think that team and that league ended up shutting down. But the NHL has been and continues to try and look for ways to promote hockey in China. Snowboarding, obviously, I was surprised as well by the gold medal that the Chinese guy won. But snowboarding has obviously gotten bigger. There's a snowboarding club in Chongqing that I'm not a part of, that I wish I had the money and time to be a part of. But they go, they take trips up north in the winter and go snowboarding. So I would love to see at some point in the future a curling rink in Chongqing. That would be awesome. The rink we play at in iChongqing actually has curling rocks in the storage room. I don't know where I assume they play on the rink. I don't know how they set it up, but yeah, I mean, it's obvious that there's been more and more promotion of winter sports across China, and I'm hoping that after the Olympics that continues to happen, because it's all winter sports are a lot of fun in my opinion.
Before we change topics, I just want to mention one thing, if it's okay, to Alex. You're talking about cool runnings, right? So I pulled up an article about that, and they say, so it's been 34 years since the first 4-man Jamaican bobsled team that the movie Cool Runnings was based on, and they had some success, including they got 14th place, which is pretty good for a small country that's not cold at all, in 1994 games. But they haven't had a Jamaican bobsled team qualify for more than 20 years, and tomorrow in Beijing, they'll make their first return. So I'm actually excited to check that out. Tomorrow, Jamaica will be in the bobsled event, or the bobsleigh event.
Tomorrow?
Yeah. So the 4-man bobsled will have a Jamaican team tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm just looking on Taobao to see if they have the curling things.
Oh, cool. Oh, you mean rocks like Dubai? Yeah.
Right. Is that right, Echo?
Oh, I'm reading.
Echo,
I'm sorry. I just yeah. So you've watched like all these curling games this year in Olympics?
No. When I
Just
lived
in England,
Alps, I used to live in the French Alps, and it's like 3,000-4,000 meters up a mountain, so it's in one of the resorts. Way. It's like its own small world, but like in the evenings, daytimes, when people are free, whenever people just happen to be there, your colleagues, people that like random guests that were coming to stay there, you'd all go out and do some curling, maybe some drinking at the same time.
Sounds pretty good.
Sounds perfect.
Have you guys been skiing in China? That's actually an interesting thing. A couple of my coworkers have been going on ski trips this winter, and it's made me a little bit jealous because it's been years since I've been snowing or skiboarding. What did I say? Sorry, snowboarding or skiing. I had a brain fart there for a moment, but yeah, it's been really. I've been watching their photos and videos. They've been going out to a couple of hills around Chongqing and a place near Beijing before the Olympics, and I kind of want to check it out. I'm a bit envious, a bit excited to do that.
I haven't, and it's just for one main reason, and that is the population, because like I see we've got a skiing snowboarding place here in Wenzhou, which looks it looks a relatively okay size, but you see most of the people on there are just, you know, they don't ski, they don't snowboard. It's, you know, because it's understandable. We have great mountains here for skiing and snowboarding, but never any snow. So it's very, very much just populated with beginners and a lot of people. Like, because you know how busy it is in China. Like, when you are snowboarding or skiing, the absolute worst thing you can do if you're going to go at any speed is go into a crowd of people, because you can't get any speed, or it's just not safe. And so that's kept me back from wanting to go trying it, because I think I would find it either boring going too slow, or you just wouldn't be able to go fast. I don't think because a lot of the slopes look kind of. And the good stuff that they do have in Beijing, I'm not sure about that. I've got friends that have been there, and they enjoy it, but I'm not sure how it would compare to the European Alps or Canadian Alps, or like the Canadian, like the skiing and snowboarding. So
I've seen some pictures. Yeah, I think they have some pretty basic, like small hills at a lot of places for beginners, and then I think there are some Black Diamond, like pretty decent, more advanced runs. But you'd have to go, I guess, not during Spring Festival, or like, you know, maybe after the Olympics when things are quiet, a little bit quiet. We could get
because heavily ski areas get really icy, and you imagine 10,000 people that are all skiing down the one run. I think it would get dangerous. Just from the ice and the volume of people as well. So as yet, no, not really. Yeah, I do miss skiing and snowboarding. No, I miss. The first, actually, funny story. The first time when I came to Chongqing in December for that trip to the Fairy Mountain, right out 3-hour drive from the city there. That was the first time. Yeah, that's the first time in China in almost 9 years that I've seen snow, and it was only a brief smattering of snow at the top of Fairy Mountain, but it was good. iChongqing did that for me. It's great.
Nice, good.
I have to show you one of these comments. I think what this one is trying to say is the curling is not just about the physical. This one says Chinese might do well in curling because it's not a physical demanding winter sport. I think that's not true. I saw these athletes playing the curling. They were like really, muscling, really, working on their bodies. I think it is a physical demanding winter sport, but it also requires skills and strategies. I think that's what you are referring, right? And what do you guys think?
It's got to be physically demanding. They're heavy. They're not light. If you've ever tried picking up one of them, it's a solid piece of rock. It's definitely not light. It's not easy. It's not something you can just throw around. I guess you have to be quite precise and not so much of a brute throwing kind of thing. But yeah, I wouldn't know. Awkward silence.
So
I know that Minnesota regularly puts out the Olympic men's team is often from Minnesota, the men's curling team, and this year's team, there was a picture with a caption under it that said the U.S. Olympic men's curling team looks like a bunch of dads who managed to get away from their kids for the weekend. Like they were, so I think it requires a lot of skill and strategy. I think it's probably not as much of a physically demanding game as a lot of the other sports are, but it's very stressful. I think because you have to be very exact in the way that you throw these things, and you're sliding your whole body across the ice along with the rock. So it's definitely requires years of practice to become good at. So, but yeah, I don't I don't entirely. I saw that comment and I kind of laughed. I don't entirely disagree with it, but I think there's a lot more to it than just being in extraordinarily good shape when it comes to curling.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where if you do it well enough, it looks easy. But compared to something like ski jumps and aerials, it's one of the few sports you could probably do pretty well with a beer in one hand.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the other sports would probably not be that, you need both your hands for. So I see
Yeah.
that. I'm looking at a picture now of John Schuster from the U.S. team, and he's got this, just when he does the last shot to beat Denmark in the quarterfinals on February 17th, a few days ago. And he kind of looks like somebody's dad, and he kind of looks like he could be holding a beer. But I mean, they're pretty good. They're pretty good.
We used to hold beers when we were playing in the Alps. That was the thing. You drank to keep yourself a little bit warmer, and they were more than happy. You could just drink a beer and do curling. And it doesn't improve your performance. It's definitely not a performance enhancing drug. It's actually probably the complete opposite. But it's a fun enhancing thing.
So another question is like, what do you guys know about these high technologies that were applied on this 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics? Like, I think I saw some robots there in their canteens for the athletes, and I think I've read some articles about the artificial snow, which was really great. And I think I've also seen some articles about these how to say this, the 4K technology to capture every moment of the game for the television to broadcasting. I don't know if you guys were catching those informations about this topic, this technology topic around this Beijing 2022, because I think it's really creative and innovative.
I mean, the fake snow isn't really a new thing. It's kind of a thing that's done through ski resorts the entire world, because you can never bank on having the snow, and there's a big business. Like every ski resort pretty much in the world has the ability to manufacture their own fake snow. They have the snow blowers out because if it's a warm month and the snow's getting a bit thin in places, they will just go out and manufacture it. But the camera technology, I mean, I couldn't quote you anything, but technology in sports in general over the last 5 to 10 years has just got absolutely phenomenal, because they'll have cameras which are actually filming the shots, but then they'll have something else. It's called witness cameras, and they're cameras which are not there to send pictures back to anywhere else, but they're cameras just to track and record movement, so that the cameras that are recording stuff are pointing in the right direction. There's some absolutely mind-blowing like cable technologies they have. They winch cable cameras backwards and forwards really fast above events, and obviously drones. Drones have gone sort of exponentially better in the last 5 years for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty good. I'm a big technology fan. I love to see all the advances, and I'm not really surprised that China is bringing out the big guns for the drones for the performances, or for just to capture the sporting events. I mean, it's China's a very high tech country, so it's really cool to see them kind of furthering the standard for the way they capture the games, that kind of thing. Yeah, really cool.
Mm.
And I wanted to talk about the fake snow. Actually, it's not the water to make the fake snow were like recycling water. And after this snow were used, these waters will be recycled again. So it's like a clean energy, a green energy technique, not really environmental energy. Actually, it's really benefits for the ecology and the environment. So that's why we're using this. And still, we have to concern about the global warming question problem, right? I've heard that I've read some articles that there are most places that were hosted the Winter Olympics. Some of them are in Europe, some of them are in Japan, or in the U.S. were like they cannot use the natural snow to host the Olympics in 60 years. Yeah, in 60 years. So I think the artificial snow is the future, and we are working on this to promote this eco-friendly technology. I think that's really an improvement. So I think that just comes to the end of our show today, and I was really glad to have this conversation. And do you guys have anything to add it up or in our show, and anything that you want to share?
Yeah, there's one thing I'm sad about. I have to wait 4 years to watch more Olympic hockey. But because I love and the bobsledding and the luging and all the scary stuff. I love all that. But I was really happy with how this Olympics turned out, and I'm looking forward to the next one when it does happen.
Yeah, actually, interesting point about that is coming up in sometime this year. It's 2022, I'm sure. Don't quote me on it. It might be next year. But there is the Asian Games, right? It's I guess the Asian Games is just the Asians slightly scaled down. It's just in Asia, right? But we here in Wenzhou are hosting some of the events for the Asian Games. So they have two sites, which one of them's already finished and one of them's almost finished. And then Hangzhou will be so it should be super fantastic. So I'm guessing this when, not sure when. I just know it could be in the city where it's going to be held. Well, some of it's going to be held.
Having trouble hearing this. Okay, maybe it's.
Oh, can you hear me now? So I just saw a comment that said, good. So there was a comment that said, don't forget the closing ceremony is the 20th on Sunday. And tomorrow, I just read about this after we talked about Cool Runnings. The Jamaican bobsled team is doing its first contribution in over 20 years. So there's going to be a really good bobsled event tomorrow. And then the closing, probably some other events and the closing games on Sunday. So a little bit more to look forward to. It's been a lot of fun. Let's see, what time is the bobsled? That's a good question. I'll try to look it up real quick before we wrap up.
You can see it on our comment section. Which one? I can show it for you.
The schedule, 8:30 p.m. bobsled competition. So in the evening, tomorrow evening. Yeah. Cool. Tomorrow evening will be the bobsled.
Wow. Gonna watch it.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Never
Jamaican
watched
bobsled in Beijing. They'll make a new movie about it. Cool Runnings 2, man. It's
Runnings the sequel,
yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoy watching these athletes to showing off their style, not just winning the game. They also, there is a French athlete who got injured so that she cannot complete her moves in of her Olympics this year, but she ended up dressed like a tiger costume, which I prepare a picture, but I can't find it. But anyway, she just dressed like a tiger and presented her style in the final round of the game. I think that spirit just inspires me, and that's just really a nice behavior to show the Olympic spirit. It's not just about winning. It's all about fun, about the the positive attitude. So I think the end, guys. I'm really glad that you guys can do this for me, do this for our audience, and connected with me, and we talk about lots of fun stuff. And definitely gonna watch the movies about the bobsleigh. Which name of the movie again?
Cool Runnings.
Okay, send me the name. Send me the name in our group chat. Okay.
Okay.
So thank you guys, and thank you everyone who's watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. It was like my second time to do this live stream in the new studio. We had a lot of connecting problems, but thank you, Kai, for solving this for me, and thank you, Ben and Alex, for supporting us on the show. And I guess I will see you guys next time, and we can continue to talk about this really fun stuff in China and the world.
Yeah, it's really great to see the winter sports.
Looking forward
so excited. And if you guys are on Twitter, where's my finger? There's my Jorakai, at Jorakai on Twitter. You can find me ranting about various things. I'm going to try to point. Oh, the camera's reversed. There we are.
Yeah.
I can't do it. It's backwards. There I am. At Jorakai on Twitter. Please check it out.
Okay,
Follow me. I post a lot of weird stuff. And
I'll just post I'll just post our account, our Twitter accounts, and Alex's Twitter accounts, and Kai's Twitter accounts, and also Ben's Twitter account if he
Alex's great
one.
YouTube channel.
And
there we go.
Down below. Okay, guys, see you guys next time.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.